down one possession at half, but
had momentum, it appeared.
Yeah, Hickory just dominated.
Yeah.
Dominated that
Yeah.
second half.
Yeah, 4 straight possessions. They scored touchdowns, and that was the answer. And I think we found out that, indeed, Hickory is a team that can challenge for a second straight state championship.
Yeah, I think so. Too bad for the Mustangs, maybe, that realignment didn't take effect this year.
Yeah, just one more year.
Probably wouldn't be in the class with the way it's looking. Probably not in the same classification with Hickory. They'd probably be one different, a 5A and a 6A maybe. But that's neither here nor there right now. Nope. You got to. North Lincoln gets their opportunity next week. North Lincoln.
They'll switch opponents.
That's right. Switch opponents, and
they get to play giant killer themselves, so to speak, when they travel to Hickory. Both teams will be 4-0, so that's looms as a pretty big game.
We'll get into high school football, after we get everybody woke up good this morning. One thing I was going to ask you, though, Mike, real quick, what was the biggest surprise to you last night in that football? Or was there one? Was there a surprise to you last night in that game?
I can't say that there were. I was a little disappointed that East Lincoln couldn't get his passing game going any better than they did after what they had done the first three, in the first 3 games of the season. But again,
Hickory defense underrated.
Yeah,
offense gets all the, glory. And it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's very good.
Oh yeah,
and it's balanced. Even though they do run more now, it seems like than they, a good bit more than they throw the ball. But when you've got Isaiah Lackey in the backfield, senior, 3-year starter. Quarterback's also, I think, a 3-year starter.
Bradley Stober.
Yep.
Got receivers out the wazoo, as they say.
And somebody had, I receive I don't know how many, probably 100 texts is what I get on a Friday night, and close to it anyway, and I love it. But the one thing I kept telling people when they were asking about it, people that were not at that game and were just listening and trying to figure out what was going on, is Hickory had men.
Yeah.
They had men on that line of scrimmage.
I dare say that offensive front, certainly college level size.
I never did get to see the numbers on number 70.
Yeah.
But he was. I don't think it's on there, unless it might be his dimensions or whatever. But I tell you, good morning, Hooks. Good morning, Ned. Ned says morning. Listening while watching, waiting to march in the Oasis Shriners Drum and Bugle Corps in the big Shriner Parade in Myrtle Beach. Well, that's a good place to do it, I guess. 7 states worth of Shriner Parade units. Have a great show. Thank you, Ned. Enjoy your day as well. And you too, Hooks. Hooks, did you go to bed last night? I was getting texts last night late from Hooks, and then early this morning. So he liked me, and even Mike Powell, who got less sleep than I did, I think.
Yeah, I was doing a high school OT. Post-game show. I think it went on at 11:50.
It was one of their top 4 games of the night.
Yeah.
Yep. Mike got lucky. Lanny received an email, passed it to me. I said, I'm going to pass that to Mike. You know why I didn't want to do it?
You didn't want to step that way.
No, I was afraid I couldn't.
Oh,
They'd be waiting on me. I'd be like, nah, I'm asleep. So Mike did it, and here's what I was also afraid of, in that you got the last draw, you got the 4th spot, and that one is at 11:50, so just before midnight before they go off. But it was one of their big games of the night. I don't know what their other ones were, but they're in the Raleigh area, so could have been anywhere throughout the state of North Carolina.
It was a big game for football Friday night on BT.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Signature game.
Well, one thing about it, people forget. East Lincoln was just 3A state champs 2 years ago. Hickory was state champs last year. So they reversed roles. They reversed roles with the but this time it's you would have thought it'd be East Lincoln's turn, but it wasn't. It was Hickory. Hook says late. That's all he's gonna say. Late. That's when he got to bed. Was late. what is it? That's not the old saying, is it? Late to bed and early to rise.
Early to rise. But it must have been if he did. If he did go to bed.
There are some of those nights that,
Thank you, sir.
I'll just go ahead and get detailed here with you. It's also worse whenever you go to sleep for about 2 hours and then you have to get up and go to the restroom, breaking it up and trying to go back to sleep. That's a rough 5 hours when you're sleeping 5 hours on that night. But
one question I'm already seeing on Facebook, David, from last night's game, wondering, does anyone know how the boy is from last night's maiden game? I don't know. Maybe Butch can answer that.
Well, we had a big-time injury in the East Lincoln game in the first 3 minutes.
That's what I thought it was for a moment.
And now, so we're hearing now there's one in the maiden game, but they didn't mention which team. I'm guessing maiden, since they said the maiden game.
Alicia Britton.
And one of the bigger ones might have occurred at West Lincoln
last
night. Yes.
Okay.
I heard this while I was on the air, and I don't know if
I don't know a whole lot. I was working session stand, but a kid come up and just briefly mentioned. I didn't really know what he was talking about at the time, but
I think it's Gray Ponder.
Yeah,
that had I think it. The latest word I got maybe was a dislocated knee.
I think that's.
Yeah,
but I don't know that.
First report was a break of something.
Yeah, that was what this kid was saying.
I don't even know which is worse. Sometimes a dislocation of something can be worse than a break. The break might heal, but I don't know, any details. So that's all speculation.
Well, Alicia goes on to say he was from Maiden and he had to leave on a stretcher. So hopefully that.
If Butch is listening, maybe he can fill us in.
Butch may know something about that injury.
Fill us in on. I'd heard this yesterday. I didn't know how North Lincoln was going to handle being without the leading tackler, their leading tackler Ryan Bassani, but they managed just fine last night against Statesville.
Sure did.
Without Bassani. I think they had another kid out that was a starting linebacker, whose name escapes me right now. That kid, I think the linebacker that's out might be out for the season. He dislocated something as well. Bassani expected back, I think, in a couple weeks. The bad thing for North is he most likely will miss the Hickory game this coming Friday. But Hook says big game for North Lincoln without Ryan Bassani. And he's got here another outside linebacker who I didn't get the name of. But their linebackers are key in that defense.
Mm-hmm.
And to be without two of them like that and still come away with that win last night over Statesville is a big win for North Lincoln, that's for sure. Brett says maiden offensive lineman, I think, got broken leg or ankle.
Oh.
So, man, it was a
tough night.
It was. For our area teams to have, first of all, some of the teams went into the game with injuries, like Bassani and the other linebacker, and now some of them got those injuries last night. The kid's name at East Lincoln, Stridham, what was that? I texted that thing to Brett last night. Brett says, just what I read on Facebook, not necessarily true. Sometimes that is the case. This is the way you do it, Hooks. Hooks says, next man up, played very well. So that's the way you plug the holes and just keep on going. Monty Mossteller, good morning, listening from Johnson City, Tennessee this morning.
Big win, big game in that area. Well, a little bit north, right? No, it is in Knoxville, of course. Rocky Top.
Well, I don't know how close that is to Knoxville. You might be just as close from here and from Johnson City. Obviously, you're probably a little bit closer, but that's not in the vicinity, the immediate vicinity.
Yeah, Rocky Top, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville. All right, Mike, go ahead and tell me then. What's your spread? Oklahoma, is this their first SEC
their
game?
Their baptism in.
They didn't do them any favors, did they? Because
Tennessee's
averaging like 115 points a game.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is One of the teams they played was two of the three teams that Tennessee has played so far have been Kent State and UT Chattanooga. So I don't know. Yeah, they've scored a ton of points, and they did beat NC State easily. So, yeah.
Are you downplaying NC State?
I don't
Just
think they're
checking.
a great team, but
17-point dog to death against Clemson.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. NC State's not had the greatest start.
Not like they thought they were.
Right. To the but they will beat Carolina, Lenny? Or not?
Oh, yeah.
You always beat
Oh, yeah.
Carolina.
Somehow they do.
I think Tennessee's favored by what, 6 or 7 over Oklahoma today,
I don't know. That's
in Norman.
In Norman?
Yeah, it's in Norman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you had said in Knoxville just a couple minutes ago.
Yep.
What made us compare where Knoxville is compared to Johnson City? I thought you told me they were playing there. A few more messages rolling in here, and I want to get to these because some of them are very important. Monty goes ahead and tells you it's an hour and a half away to Knoxville from Johnson City, but they are in Oklahoma today. He says they're on Oklahoma, but that would be true too. Let's see. Hook says East Tennessee State is in Johnson City. Yes, it is.
Yep.
Been there. Let's see. Believe it or not, I've been there for basketball. Isn't that not weird? They played in that mini dome.
in that mini dome.
Where they play football.
Yeah.
Roger says, and he would know, Tennessee game in Norman today.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get some predictions. This is Mike's big Oklahoma guy, always has been. Roger's big Tennessee guy. A lot of Tennessee fans in this area. Give me your spread. And now, Roger, don't tell me 50. We'll see who's the closest. Text me your spreads today. But I want to get to this one. Butch says, a young man from Maiden is an offensive lineman, had a compound fracture. Very serious.
That is serious.
Very serious, yep. Anytime it comes through like that, it's definitely serious. Roger says 10, a modest 10. Double-digit win for the Vols.
Well, certainly, I think a 6 or 7 point line favoring Tennessee in the ball game. We'll just have to see.
What's been the biggest surprise so far in these new conferences? There's one game that I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know what it was. It was Auburn. Who was it rolled in?
California.
Cal. That was the biggest surprise to me
Cal.
so far. That Cal went to Auburn.
Yeah.
Who Cal's just like, well, that's an ACC school
Yes.
now. Yeah, that's hard to do.
Yeah, I was going to say,
And they play Florida State
too.
today.
Yeah.
Cal does.
Well, that's automatic.
And
At some point, Florida State's going to win a game, though.
and Stanford, another new member of the ACC, they got a big win over Syracuse.
Yes. Well,
So,
2 points, wasn't
2
it?
points. Yeah.
At Syracuse.
At Syracuse. So, these new West Coast members of the ACC, everybody expected them just to
Showing their grit.
or something.
You said it was Stanford?
Stanford.
They got that win?
Yeah, and again, Cal went into Auburn, as you say, on the Plains and got one. So those are kind of mildly surprising for me, anyway. And of course, big thing, of course, has been the for everything Florida State.
Florida State.
And I guess the biggest disappointment in the country.
Yeah.
Got to be.
You were talking about that, about they're eventually going to win. They hadn't got into the brunt of their schedule.
No.
I mean, they've got Miami. I saw some guy the other day said Charleston Southern wasn't even
Wasn't even a
he
gimme.
said that wasn't a gimme, and that was
wow.
because they were coming in like
And that's for who?
ninth game.
I'm sorry,
of,
I'm reading so many.
Florida State.
Yeah.
Ninth game of the
Yeah.
season. When they
Nothing's a
played, and
gimme
he was
for
saying
Florida
there's going to
State.
have so many losses that he wasn't even sure Charleston Southern would be a.
Right.
The state of Florida is not in a good state outside
Unless
of
you're Miami.
Unless you're Miami.
And some of the other, I would guess that Central Florida, South Florida, they're probably doing fine because they just have steady programs that just keep winning games. I don't know
And that's
for a
who
fact.
Miami plays today.
Yeah.
South Florida, I believe.
Is it?
I
Well,
believe it is.
here's my question.
South Florida is in Tampa. Isn't that weird?
Will Billy Napier survive the season at Florida? I don't think he does. I think they fire him.
Which one goes first? Napier, or what's Florida State guy?
I would think
Mike
Napier
Norvell.
first, just
Surely.
because I mean
Just
Norvell
because of the year he had
Norvell
last
could
year.
be fired, after winning the ACC, and but I'd see
13-0.
him survive at least till the end.
Yeah, I mean, they did go 13-0 last year, and I say he gets through this year.
They haven't
but
gotten over
all bets
the
are off.
humiliating defeat they took in the
Oh.
bowl game. Who was it that just?
Ohio State just
Is that who it was?
Ohio State or Georgia? I couldn't
Georgia.
remember. Georgia.
Yeah,
well,
Georgia.
Georgia.
I think Georgia just scored another touchdown.
Yeah.
In that game.
66-3, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh,
So Florida.
that's
hasn't-
embarrassing.
I don't
You
know
know,
when the
and-
last time Florida won a football game.
And I've been thinking a little bit
Florida?
about Florida State. Last year they had like 30-some transfer portal,
Mm-hmm.
and then they replaced this year of about the same amount. I guess that sometimes it don't mesh.
Nope. Not always.
It's you think you better yourself, but
Better stick with Dabo's system. is that
maybe
what you
not.
say?
Not that many anyway.
Yeah.
Just
Okay, who's Florida State's quarterback? Much traveled.
DJ Ongale, or however you
Yeah.
pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, him.
DJU. I think that's how they.
Yeah, this is his third stop, right? It was Clemson, then Oregon State, and now Florida State.
That's there and back. That's a long route. A couple more got something here. Hook says Tennessee today by 6.
Right.
In
By
that,
6
Rogers
points.
going to go with 34-24. That's a little lower scoring than I would have expected. I don't know why. I just feel like these guys might hit some bigger numbers.
Well, Oklahoma does have a defense.
That's their
finally.
strength. It seems to be.
Yeah, they finally got a decent defense, but now they don't have an offense, so can't get them both.
Jason says Napier has a $26 million buyout
Yep.
in his contract, but it's been reported that Florida boosters have already come up with that
Well, yeah.
amount of money. It's funny how boosters can come up with whatever they need to come up with when it's time to make. Think about it though, Florida. I mean, SEC,
Yeah.
great history. But it's always been like great history when they really have solid coaches, like an Urban Meyer while he was there,
Spurrier.
and the guy back in the day.
I'm trying to think.
Doug, was it Doug Dickey?
No,
Doug Dickey was.
That's
well, that's
really
not the one
going
I'm
back
thinking
there.
about. I'm thinking about the one that was there when Emmitt Smith played.
Charlie Pale and
Charlie
Galen
Pale.
Hall.
Galen Hall.
Galen
was the
Hall.
one I'm trying to remember.
Pale wasn't there long
Yep,
because he
Galen
got on
Hall.
probation, and then Galen
Yeah.
Hall come in.
They had
behind
some
him.
pretty good years there.
But
with
you
Emmitt
would
Smith.
expect them to be
Yeah.
better. But who would they go after? If you think about coaches right now in
Got
college
me.
football, who you going to go after?
Well, that's
Yeah, who's the next big star?
yet
on
to
the
be
horizon?
determined. But the end of the season might have a say so in that. What transpires from there.
And Lanny is itching to say something.
Yeah.
The name's already out there.
Who is
Okay.
that?
He's in the SEC at Ole Miss.
Oh,
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, well,
Lane
that
Kiffin.
Yeah, I have heard that. Now that you said that,
Yeah,
I
that would
remember him
make-
saying that on TV. But would he leave Ole Miss and what he's built there to go to Florida? Obviously, Florida has a somewhat better tradition. I mean, they've got national titles, hanging up.
I would say.
They probably have
I
more
would
money.
say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he's done a great job at Mississippi, but
Those schools used to do a great job recruiting the state of Florida, and right now, looks like Miami's the only one getting the share.
and the recruiting base there is just so good.
It is.
That you
But it doesn't matter who you recruit anymore. It's when you start talking about the portal.
Yeah,
and
it's-
NIL.
I find that a lot of guys go somewhere for a year or two, and then they return home.
Mhm.
That's what's happening with this portal. It's
Yeah.
not going exactly like they want, and they go back home to their home state and play for one of the in-state teams. It seems like that's happening quite often. Mike Norvell, this is from Jason. His buyout $60 million,
and he just got an extension.
doubt
He did.
he's fired. I'm not saying he can't coach. It's
Well,
just-
like I say,
it's just
I just think
sometimes
now
a run of bad
there's
luck.
so much bad luck and transfer of people running in and out. It's hard to mesh the program. And
Brett says Florida should go after Urban Meyer, a return. Urban Meyer.
I don't know.
I've never been an Urban Meyer fan, but the man can coach football. I mean, you
Well,
know,
at least on the college level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an
Everywhere
embarrassment.
he was. Well,
He was-
yeah, he was.
Everywhere he's been on the college level, he's won.
Mhm.
You know, that's
Whether
it's a superpower or somebody that hadn't been a traditional.
But
power.
not so much at Jacksonville in the NFL.
Right.
Rogers throws this stat out there. The Tennessee defense hasn't allowed an offensive touchdown in 20 quarters.
Ooh,
So
that's scary.
the last 20 quarters, they have not allowed.
Yeah, Oklahoma really offensively is still trying to find itself. Kind of been up and down. I don't know how they'll fare against that Tennessee defense.
What time is that game?
I think it's evening, 6 o'clock.
I don't
Is it?
know.
7.
Like that's
It's prime time. I think.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
then it'd be 6 or 7:30.
I thought last week the best games were at noon, and I'd rather the best games kind of be a little later, than
Yeah.
noon. But yeah, obviously it's not up to me. But I like, there was a big game last night. Two undefeateds. Now y'all looking at me like you're puzzled, but I swear I thought I saw the score last night. Nebraska fell from the ranks
Yeah.
of the
Did
unbeaten
they lose? It was 20,
in overtime.
It was 24-24 the last time.
But they failed to undefeated Illinois.
Mhm.
And those two guys, those two football teams have coaches that you know. You know, they have, with Matt Rule, back in college football in Nebraska. And I think he'll do well there. He's off to a good start, even though they lost in overtime on the road.
On the road.
And help me with, is it Belema?
No, he was the Fickle.
Fickle.
Who did such a heck of a job at Cincinnati and got
Luke,
them into the
Luke Fickle.
Luke Fickle got them
Okay.
into the college football playoffs.
I wasn't
a
sure
couple
who was
years
at
ago.
Illinois.
Are you sure about that?
I don't know.
That's not right.
I don't know.
I don't
For
know.
some reason,
I don't
somebody
know.
tell me real quick.
Somebody
For
correct
some
me
reason,
on
I
that
thought
one.
it was
Eric
Brett Belema or
Brett
whatever.
Belema.
Whatever his name
Belema.
is. I may be wrong about that.
Maybe.
Now I'll tell you when
No.
I was checking that,
That
But you're right. You're right.
I was half asleep.
Brett Belema
Okay.
at Illinois.
And where was he before? Was he
Was
at
he-
Wisconsin at one time?
Was it Arkansas first
Arkan-
or Wisconsin? Is Wisconsin Arkansas or Arkansas
That's right.
Wisconsin?
No.
I'm not sure.
Wisconsin, then Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah, that's right.
He went back more to his roots too. You was talking about players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was a Wisconsin.
And to me, he's also a proven football
Yes.
coach. I mean, he's not been dealt the top-notch programs as we see them, but if I'll put it this way, if Illinois has been down for so many years, if you can go to Illinois and win,
right.
and he's a perfect 3-0 right now, and I don't know what their schedule is, but I think that's a really solid win. To knock off Nebraska,
I
who've
think
been
he's-
playing well.
Yeah, he's a pretty good coach. Really good at Wisconsin. Kind of mixed results at Arkansas. Never really found his footing there, but nice start for Illinois.
Now you got me wondering where
I'm looking, but
Mr. Fickle.
I can't pull up.
Where did Luke Fickle
I
go?
can't pull it up. I
want to say Wisconsin.
Can't get on the site.
Yeah,
haven't
I don't
gotten
even-
anything right.
I don't
so
know who's
far.
been at Wisconsin since Barry Alvarez
Yeah.
stepped
Oh,
down.
that was a
and,
long
Hell, the
time ago.
and
I
they,
guess Fickle took his. I mean,
Yeah.
Belema took his place
Right.
from the start after
Mhm.
Alvarez, and then
Mm-hmm.
Christie was there for one time from Pitt, but I don't know since then.
Christie.
Pat Christie, I believe. Was
My goodness,
Mm-hmm.
But that's been.
Guys, what do you guys think
it's
about
hard. There's so many college coaches in the
what happened to Appalachia?
out there.
At
Lanny
the
and I were
Rock.
talking about that.
At the Rock.
Yeah,
no
Lanny and I were
less.
talking. They just they're down a notch. I mean, let's face it. They didn't. When you give up 35, I don't care who you're playing in a quarter.
In a quarter.
And they gave Clemson 35 points, wasn't it, in the first quarter? They didn't give them, but but that tells you something right there that they're just not on the level. You know what? I'll tell you what it is, Mike. And Miss Drinkowitz.
Yeah, hey, baby.
Mike,
They had been the same since Drinkowitz.
And look at
you
what
were
Missouri's
close.
doing.
Yeah.
You were close on it. Mike Fickle is at Wisconsin now.
Wisconsin now. Yeah.
Here we go. A couple texts rolling in. Hooks says App State needs to fire the entire coaching staff after that game last Thursday night.
Yep.
Terrible game all around by App State at home.
Yeah.
I think everyone would.
They made
agree
South
with that.
Carolina look like Alabama. I mean, South Alabama looked like Alabama.
Yeah. Jason says Stanford got their first ACC win over Syracuse last night.
The Cardinal.
Luke Fickle is the current coach at Wisconsin. He also says.
Yep.
Brett says Fickle is at Wisconsin. If you wonder, Brett not with us this morning. He is heading out to spend the day in Greenville.
Oh, good play.
And then check out the Hootie and the Blowfish concert tonight.
Make sure they go on the river walk there.
Well, you just gave him advice.
Right through the middle of town. Waterfalls, green space, really nice.
Yeah. Before we take our first time out, I wanted to ask you guys something. I did not know anything about this till this morning. I had the news on. Deadly accident over at Burns.
Yeah.
What day did that happen on? Did that
Wednesday, I
was
believe.
it?
Was it
I
Wednesday?
don't know
Mike?
why I had not
Wednesday,
seen
I
any of
believe.
that.
Wednesday about the time of school letting out at Burns
Yeah.
High.
Yep.
Yeah, terrible tragedy.
Yes, it was. Lost a couple students lost their
Yeah,
lives in
one
that accident.
seriously injured too.
Yeah, right there in front of the school.
Yep.
That wasn't
Yep.
pretty much.
Which they
Right
claim
there.
is a very bad spot. And I
Yeah.
can't remember it. I know it's kind of blind one way or the other, but I can't remember it exactly how it is. But
Well, right there as you pull out on that lower lot, and I never
Yeah.
remember, but there's a road that slants off to
There is.
and I never did realize that when I first seen it, I believe that's Cress, because I don't remember that road
Right.
beside that little convenience store.
And
But,
the students that they were trying to turn left off that road
right.
and ran into oncoming traffic.
Turned
So,
into oncoming traffic, wouldn't it?
Monty says Brett needs to check the Riverwalk and Yeehaw Brewing in Greenville.
there you go.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
All for it. Cleveland County been in the news a lot here over the last week and a
Oh,
half.
boy.
For
Yes,
And
they
not
have.
for the good,
No.
not necessarily for good reasons.
yeah, not necessarily for good reasons is right. We'll take our first time out. Appreciate you tuning in this morning. Back with more sports talk here in just a moment.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Dr. John Clonger III and Dr. Aaron Hebner's mission is to earn their patients' respect and trust through the commitment and positivity, and offer the dental solutions in a professional environment to improve oral and overall health. The practice will be accepting new patients. Just call 704-735-0765 to schedule an immediate appointment. We can provide services like extractions, crowns, bridges, fillings, night guards, cleanings, and deep cleanings, sleep apnea appliances, partials, and dentures. We can also advise determine a treatment plan for dental implants. Dr. John Clonger III and Dr. Aaron Hebner, 904 Doncha Drive, Lincolnton. Call 704-735-0765 to schedule your appointment and experience the dental profession in a warm and no-pressure environment. I'm telling you, the apple didn't fall far.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
It's time to get ready for spring. Time to head to Full Throttle Power Sports and 95 Trailers. Test drive an ATV or side-by-side today. Full Throttle Power Sports carries CF Moto, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Honda, and Slingshot. And check out the trailers with brand names like SureTrack, Iron Bull, and Triton. Stop by or give them a call at 704-833-1270. Full Throttle Power Sports, 100 Indian Walk in Lowell. Online at ncfullthrottle.com. They deal in fun.
Hi, folks. This is Will Poteet, president and co-owner of RE/MAX Crossroads. The real estate market is ever changing, but it's not too late to sell your home for a great price. If you're thinking about selling your home, give us a call at 704-736-1717 to speak with one of our expert agents. We would love the opportunity to earn your business.
This is Creighton Kell with Kell Insurance. We have been helping people for over 25 years with all their Medicare needs. We represent the same national and local companies as the insurance agencies you see on TV. And you know what? We can sit down with you one-on-one and help you find the right plan just for you.
Kell Insurance is located beside the Cultural Center and behind Gillum Realty in downtown Lincolnton. 107 North Cedar Street. Call 704-732-4646 and follow them on Facebook. Kell Insurance.
Lenny, say that again, what you just said while we were off the air.
Hey, you know about the Carrier Dome?
Mm-hmm.
Was 50? I think I heard it's the 50th anniversary of the Carrier Dome.
All right.
It's not Carrier now; it's changed.
Oh,
The
yeah.
name has changed, but
Of course.
That's hard to believe.
That's what it is to me. This is
50th anniversary.
getting old, aren't we?
The eighth wonder of the world.
Mm.
Remember when does anybody remember when the Astor Dome was a technological marvel architecturally?
No,
That was
you
a
do.
long time ago.
What year did it open? 60s? Sometime in the
Early
60s?
Sometime in the
60s.
60s.
Yeah.
I'm
Sometime
not.
in the 60s.
Yeah, sometime in the 60s.
Wonder of the
for-
world. You're right.
Um,
And you know, it was the only one for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
oh, yeah. Yes, it was.
Now, if you don't have them, you're out of date.
You are way out.
Lanny is printing some STG or some Sports Talk T-shirts or something like that.
Yeah, like the one I have.
Say it again, Lanny. Okay. There's the T-shirt. It's actually a 107.5 WLON T-shirt. Sports Talk Guys is on mentioned on the front. So if you are the first person to Facebook or text WLON right now, you will receive a T-shirt. May not be your size, but you'll receive one.
Yeah.
Only one person, I don't know if anybody realized, I'm sitting in a different chair today. We're glad to have Lenny filling in for Brett. And I didn't even think about doing lyrics at the end of that first segment. But it just hit me that we need to get our lyrics out there. WLON is what you need to text or send via Facebook to receive that shirt. Mike's going to see who the first one is on Facebook. I will see who the first one is on
All right.
text. But I'll get my lyrics first, and you can just send me your guesses in as we go along with the this part of the second segment of the show this morning, the second quarter, as we call it. A long, long time ago, I can still remember.
Oh, well. American Pie, Don McLean.
Don McLean.
Way to not give anybody a chance.
No.
And all you had to do is say, I know it.
Yep.
So,
Right.
but there you go. I told you it would
You
be
said
one
it's
of
gonna be-
one of the easiest.
Yep.
Brett says there's a button I need to press to get rid of the echo. I think it's gone. Is it not gone now,
hear it
Brett?
now. I heard it a while ago,
I had
but
it,
I can't.
he had already told me about that button, and it just took me a while to find it. But I think that echo may be gone. But thanks for letting me know. Yep, a long, long time ago, I can still remember how the music used to make me smile. And I knew if I had the chance, I could make those people
Yeah,
dance.
I think it is a glorification of the early days of rock and roll when it was pure, as in the way it was with Buddy Holly.
Well, I can't wait for this part, but February made me shiver.
Ooh,
I'm
me
ready.
too. I'm ready.
Bring on the cold.
Bring it on.
Brett said it's not gone. Lanny, what have I hit wrong here? That the echo. Maybe that's it. Did that take it away, Brett?
Monty Mosteller on Facebook says, "Shirt, please."
Okay. Monty's got the shirt coming. Brett says I still got an echo. And
Monty, I'm saying hey back to Haley.
yeah, there you go. Hook says you sound fine here.
Hope
okay.
hope Haley's
well,
doing
we'll just
well.
come over there. Don Revels, Carrier Dome is 50, as is hard to believe as Stanford getting an ACC win against Syracuse.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. I'm not shocked by beating Syracuse. Now, if you tell me that they get an ACC win over Miami, maybe at the beginning of the year I might would have threw Florida State in there.
I guess maybe because Syracuse had got off to a good start.
Yeah.
That was.
Now, here's something I remember preseason. Sports Illustrated predicted Virginia Tech to make the 12-team playoff. Now, how's that looking now?
Not good.
When they lose to Vanderbilt in their opener.
Mike, be
good.
careful. Me and you and Brett made picks too.
Yeah,
So I think we might have Florida State.
I did. I had one of them.
yeah.
Either Florida State or
That was-
Virginia Tech.
Yep,
in there.
might have Florida State stuck in there.
But you were going out on a limb a little bit with Virginia Tech, but probably everybody picked Florida State. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
I would
that's
think.
it's.
Yeah, Virginia Tech program hadn't been the same since Beamer
No.
Nope.
retired. You know, I mean, it's just not been the same.
No, not quite.
Did they play? Did they ever play? What's the highest they ever finished?
Didn't they play Florida State in the championship game?
I was thinking
Championship
like
when Vic was
Yep.
Vic was there, or maybe
Michael-
might have been the year after Vic.
I know they
when the
played.
brother was.
I know they played Florida State in the ACC championship
Yeah, I
one year
believe they
because I
played-
was there.
Yeah.
I believe they were still in the. They were still in Big East then, I think, Virginia Tech, when
Yeah.
they played Florida State. I believe it was a championship game,
It was
I
the
think.
championship game with Vic. Yeah.
Lanny, guess who heard us last night and stopped by to see us at the East Lincoln game? Now, this is a good one. We were just talking. Actually, I'd sent this guy a happy birthday earlier in the week, and then he started talking back and forth. We started talking for a couple of days. You know him real well. Yep. And he said something about football. I said, well, we're about to do a game right now at East Lincoln. And he said, well, I'm about to drive by there. Next thing I know, he's in the press box.
Yeah.
And his name is Phil Garner.
You go.
Phil. Yep.
His birthday's the day after my wife's.
Yep. And
Good to see Phil.
yeah, Phil come in there and talked to us a little bit. And the last thing he said was, I need to go. I'm getting food from Geppetto's in Newton for the family. So they're waiting on me to provide dinner. Is that doctor? The doctor. I'll remember that from now on.
Yep. Phil
doc.
has made his fame and fortune as a pharmacist. I think he still lives in the Columbia area. Of course, a Maiden native, went to Maiden High School. Great sports writer. He worked briefly for the Times News. I taught him everything he knew back in those days, and he went on to work for the Gazette and made a great decision for himself to kind of saw what was going on in the industry, and now he's a pharmacist in Columbia.
Yes, he is. Richard makes good sense here too, but I was just kind of picking about the who won the game. But Richard says maybe he's shocked. He thinks maybe he's shocked because they're in the ACC, not just that they won that game, but it's an ACC win, and that does make sense.
Yeah.
Syracuse maybe not so much, but Stanford in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Coast to coast.
Yeah, that's
How do you figure SMU? I can't figure out what they're going to do this year in the ACC.
Well, they were kind of projected as the best of the three.
Best of
the
three.
three.
That's right.
I mean, I don't know what they play TCU today, so I don't. But I don't know what their record is right now. I don't know.
And Don Revels himself dittos that. He said meant Stanford and Syracuse being in the ACC. Pretty sure when the Carrier Dome opened, no one could have predicted that. And that is, now the conference is just a name. It's really not,
right. It's not
specific to.
It's not geographical.
Yep, to the area. One day we might see them called
you guys
Conference 1, Conference 2.
Remember when the ACC had 8 schools?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I remember 7, Mike.
7.
Yeah. I think it was Georgia Tech that came in.
That's right. Yeah, Georgia Tech became the 8th and 9th.
I think they became 8th and Florida State 9th.
Okay.
Is that not right, Lenny?
You could be right.
See, South Carolina departed.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
they were
there was
without
them
for several years, and then Georgia Tech came in.
Probably
the fold.
10 years.
Yeah,
or so.
Georgia Tech came in,
and Georgia Tech came in, made it
because it was the big four,
made it 8 again,
and Clemson and South Carolina and Virginia and Maryland. That was the 8, and then South Carolina left and it had 7 for a long time.
He did. He did.
Yep.
And until
Georgia Tech
entered.
And there was a pretty good gap between Georgia Tech and Florida State.
There was.
I mean, that was quite a while.
Florida State didn't come into like about 90.
Yeah,
I believe it was
early 90s.
Yeah.
Yep. I was very shocked when that happened because Florida State, it improved their basketball though. I think.
Oh yeah, it did.
Yep.
What year did Florida State play in the national title game? That was 70s.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Late 60s,
71,
early 70s.
71 or 72.
Of course,
I'm not
it was
sure.
UCLA game, so they obviously lost.
Because they beat Carolina to get to the championship game.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that when Florida no.
That was Otis Cole from Kings Mountain played on that team. Reggie Royal. They had 2 Reggie Royals from White.
On the Florida State team.
On the Florida State. That was back in the SAT days. You had to score 800 and from what I understood, neither of those were capable of qualifying.
Right.
At that time.
Today's qualify? What's that?
Yeah, well, it don't matter now. When academics mattered.
Yeah.
Well, Jacksonville with Artis Gilmore also played against UCLA. and Lou Alcindor.
I think that was the year
UCLA
before.
Played everybody. They were in it every year.
Yeah. I believe that was 71.
71.
Maybe. I believe 71. Florida State was 72.
Yeah.
Because it was Carolina, Florida State, UCLA, and Louisville.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
In that championship Final Four.
Okay, who did John Wooden beat for his final UCLA championship?
Was it Kentucky?
Kentucky.
Was it?
75, I think.
1975.
Right. Yep. And he retired.
And he retired.
Off into the sunset.
I'm just sitting here thinking about the domination that they had, and we've had 3 teams. That's all that's won back-to-back titles since that happened.
Right.
Florida, and UConn, I guess.
So 3 teams that have won.
And nobody's been back-to-back yet.
And it could happen.
Available.
It could happen because they've won 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
UConn's in a position.
Opportunity is there.
And I can't imagine that with I can't even think of his name. Hurley staying put, that he won't have whoever he wants on that roster this coming season to compete for that third national. Who do you think? I mean, I have no idea. I don't know how good Carolina will be. I don't know how good Duke will be. Just don't really know. I
don't have any idea.
But who do you think might be the top contender to end that? Would it be one of those 2, or would it be Kentucky?
They talk about like how good Kansas is going to be.
Yeah,
a lot of people came back and they were injury prone so bad last year.
Well, you always got to figure Kansas.
So I mean, that's one of the teams I'm hearing.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing Duke because of but the issue of them is the youth.
That's
the youth. But
they put a lot of weight on.
From what I'm hearing, Flag is the real deal.
Right,
I mean,
a generational player. You're saying?
I mean,
maybe we'll see.
Lanny?
I hope so. Let's put it that way.
I think Carolina will be very good. Their issue is going to be inside. Can they generate enough rebounding? That's. I don't think scoring will be a problem.
Yep.
And, I mean, and there's others out there, too, that somebody will be in there that you don't expect. Somebody will be in the mix
Certainly.
that you don't expect. And
Well, Alabama appears to be
Alabama's
loaded.
going to be good.
how in the world did they turn into a basketball
Yeah.
power all of a
NIL.
sudden? Yeah, I guess so.
NIL.
That's funny that we talking about the rabbit hole, getting on into college basketball a little bit.
On that. Didn't mean to.
Yeah, and I definitely, I've always been one of those. I don't watch a lot of college basketball till football's over with. I mean, I'll catch a game here and there, but I really pick it up once January's over and college football has. Well, I don't even know this year. Is football go deeper since they're having the extended playoffs, or is it still going to end in January?
I think it's about the same because it starts on the 20th. I believe I heard them say the 20th is when the playoffs, which would be everything else happens after Christmas normally, doesn't it?
Okay, so there is going to be one group of 5 in the playoffs, correct? The 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were talking about the other day who it would be, and I think I've heard Boise State mentioned.
Yeah.
And next year they'll be in
the
new conference,
Big 12. Is that
whatever
correct?
it is?
Is that where they're going? No, that Pac-12
yes,
conference.
Oregon State and
they're-
Washington State.
Well, I'm
They're
glad
gonna be in
that those two previous Pac-12 teams were able to find some footing. With the conference, sounds like it's going to be okay.
And I did hear first of the week. Of course, it's now just kind of in the negotiations, but Florida State and Clemson were suing the ACC to get out. Now they're back at the tables talking about redefining the revenue sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
they're going to get more.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to negotiate Florida State when you're just looking at the records you got right at the moment, isn't it? So you're going to have to give up some of your share at this year.
Yeah. Or like, who wants you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of that.
And, Clemson's still trying to live down the beating they took at the hands of Georgia in the Open.
But according to Mark Packer, that it's just in the early negotiating stages right now. But they've kind of come to the table to versus going to court, settling it in another by a revenue point of view.
I don't really care that much about Florida State, but Clemson, I mean, they've been in the ACC forever.
Right.
I would hate to see Clemson
I would too.
leave the ACC. You go all the way back to the Frank Howard days and their history, and
Well, I read somewhere or heard – I didn't read, I heard it, that Florida State said, well, where would they go? Said the SEC said, we're not expanding
They're
right
not
now.
expanding.
We're not interested. Yeah. And I've even heard that the SEC said, even if we start talking about expansion, North Carolina's that's because their NIL, I mean their shirt sales are so nationwide. That.
Yep.
Got a few texts rolling in I want to get to some college sports. I got a couple things, college football. I want to go through the schedule. We got a lot to talk about here because there's one big major subject that we have to talk about, and I'll get to it before we take the break, I hope. But Hook says SMU is 2-1, talking about their football program.
Right.
Only loss was to BYU in the battle of the initials, I'll say, by 3 points in that one. Jason says, yes, the football national championship game will be on MLK Day. So that's early February, right?
So it would be a little.
Or is it late January?
It's late January.
Late January. So the season is extended by 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's not bad.
It's not bad
when it's only done by 2 weeks.
I love the fact there are going to be playoff games on college campuses.
Yeah.
To start off with.
Yeah. We are definitely going to get into college football, high school football, give you all the scores from last night and the big matchups today in college football, but we cannot go any further without talking the biggest single day by one Major League Baseball player in the history of the game. Nothing matches it. Nothing matches it. All the numbers that you can say that Shohei Ohtani had on Thursday?
Yeah.
Thursday? And the biggest to me, well, I don't know. What is the biggest number? Is it 52? Or that day he might have went to 50-50. He might have got 52-52 the next day. I can't remember.
51-51 and then 52 if he hit a home run last night and another stolen base.
Yep.
So
he's setting a standard we may never see matched.
Here's kind of what caught my attention. I don't know if y'all heard this or not. I heard it, Bob Costas telling this. as big a game as that was for him, all the things that went on, he broke the record. He drove into 10 runs. So that was But another thing he said, he got thrown out at third base, trying to stretch a double into the triple. If he'd have got that, he would have had a cycle in that game too.
Yeah,
Oh,
and was that the one they kept showing where the tag?
I know what you're talking. I don't know.
It was real close whether he was safe or out.
I don't know if that was it or not. I don't know,
Yeah.
but that's what he said. He said by whisker he almost had a triple.
How many people's ever hit a cycle with 3 home runs?
So I mean that just really. Well, there's a little bit of question before last week whether he would be the MVP because he was a DH. That's gone. That's gone. I think he's going to win it anyway. But that totally eliminated. He's and I did hear this, but I don't think it'll happen. I think the Dodgers would be foolish. They did say yesterday on something that he could possibly be available to pitch if they got deep into the playoffs.
I was just going to say that.
And I thought, if I'm the Dodgers, I don't go there.
Yeah.
If you waited a year, don't push that.
I could see it happen next year. Next year. Yeah. Don't mess up what he's got going on at the plate.
That's right.
Now, I can't wait for people to weigh in on this. Is he the greatest baseball player of all time? Mm-hmm. And I know some people will say, let's give it 10 more years,
Yeah.
But just out of what we've seen,
what
and
he's
just base it
accomplished
on
till
what
now,
he's done,
you'd have to say, yeah. But
I'm not.
Give it some more time.
Yeah.
Well, when have we had?
I'm not
someone,
sure it's close.
Well, how far do you have to go back to find someone that can do all he can do? Not only be an effective pitcher.
I mean, for years and years, people said Babe Ruth.
Well,
and I don't even know who they got
to
second.
To me, that
Babe
category
Ruth,
kind of changed.
Maybe Ted Williams.
I didn't know he could run like that with the stolen bases. Now, to me, maybe.
How tall is that guy?
Maybe Willie
6'5"?
Mays.
Yeah, Willie Mays.
Maybe Willie Mays now because he's probably going to want to combine power and speed. And they were talking, I believe that was Costas yesterday saying, that he probably – Willie Mays stole 40 several times, and that was in an era when stolen bases were not a big – he probably could have got more.
Most time your guys that have just blazing speed aren't the size of Ohtani.
Right.
I mean, that's what amazes me is how well he can run.
Yeah.
And have that kind of power and that body build.
Well, I'm going to ask you all this. I heard it, and I'm going to make sure I heard this correct. Have you ever heard this? You have to play 10 years before you're eligible for the Hall of Fame. Have you heard that? I had never heard that, but I thought I heard somebody say, well,
I'd hate to see somebody who was dynamic for 9 years.
And he wasn't talking about Ohtani. He was talking about somebody. He said, well, he's not got to 10 years yet, so we'll address it. But it wasn't him, But I'm like you. I think that rule –
I could see that.
If that's true, that rule could be changed.
Well, baseball is the strangest, is it not, of all the Hall of Fames?
Yeah.
It's like, it's the hardest one to get in, it seems like, of all the Hall of Fames. So
and I'm not
shock me.
And I'm not saying that's so, but I thought I heard, and I thought, wow, if that's so, I never heard that. That's something new I heard, new I learned. But I don't know that. That might be a booger tale I'm putting out there.
Nobody's weighed in. I was hoping we get some opinions. Is that there's no doubt it's the greatest day. I don't even think that's debatable. But is he the best player you've ever seen? And you can only base it on what you've seen so far. Don't say no, he hasn't been around long enough. Just base it on what you've seen. Some of the old timers are going to hang on and say, back in my day,
when you throw in what Mike said, you throw on top of that the ability to pitch, and be good at it, not just going out there throwing,
Yeah, that's the separator for me.
That's the Ruthian stuff there.
Yeah, that's Ruthian.
Yeah. Well, that term might change to Ohtanian.
Yeah.
That's right.
And, of course, the Yankee fans are going to try to hang on to that, and I understand that. Let's see. Brett says, best I've ever seen because of his pitching ability. Mm-hmm. Before him, Bonds was the best I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I was thinking Bonds in that category.
Yep. You can say what you want about Bonds. He if you want to say, well, he was on the juice, so were the pitchers that he had to hit against. and he still
Everybody
had to
was on
make
the
And you
juice.
still got to
the
hit
contact.
it. You still got to hit it.
Yeah.
You got to
Still-
see it. and hit it.
Hand-eye coordination
That's right.
is better than anybody's.
Yeah.
The juice might
I
have
remember.
given him the power, but you got to do the other things.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah, Bond slips our minds a lot of times just because I think it's because he's been so recent.
That's
You want to think back to
That's
how long
kind of
ago,
like,
you
I
know?
guess this is the Red Sox talking out of me too. That's kind of like Clemens. Well, he's on the juice, yeah, but you got to have the grit
Yep.
and the will to
Yep.
go inside. Hey, I'm coming inside on you. There's more than just some of it was fear. that
There
he
was a
drove.
lot more of them on that juice too that were never found out about.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was just the juice era. And what do you think spurred it? I guess it was a home run battle between Mark McGuire and
It probably was already
Sammy
there,
Sosa.
but that brought it to the forefront.
Yeah.
You know, when
And then baseball saw the attendance, saw the interest. and
Right.
Didn't do a thing.
and coming off that year they shut down the strike. They just want to put people back, bring the game back.
They bring the game back.
Here's another interesting stat. This one from Jason. Ohtani surpassed Ricky Henderson with the most games for having a home run and a stolen base.
Yeah.
At 14 now.
14.
14 games this season. He's had a home run and a stolen base.
Could I let the Red Sox come out of me again real quick here, David? I heard this the other day.
Please do.
Yeah.
I'm all
We
for it.
talk,
Red Sox
we talk
fan.
about the worst trade. You know, everybody knows the trade the Red Sox made that goes down in history.
Ruth.
The Ruth.
Ruth, yeah.
I'm beginning to think the Chris Sale trade might be the second.
Yeah, he's going to win the Cy
Because
Young,
he's going
isn't
to win the Cy Young. But I heard this the other day. He's had 18 consecutive starts and give up no more than 2 runs, 2 or less, and said that had never been done in the big leagues since 1913.
Well, I'm gonna be an optimist. I'm gonna say that's because he's in the National League.
and
It seems like there's not as much run scored.
Well,
in the
and
used
here-
to be especially.
And here's another thing too. Back in those days, you went to length, and now if you get 5 innings, you might be out of the game.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that gives you a better chance to have 2 runs or less. You know, so versus, you know, when it's going 9 innings, you know, 10 if it was tied. So.
You guys know that is it the Braves and the Reds next year playing in Bristol?
I believe
Is that the game? Do I have the game right there, Coach? Scott tells us the baseball game at Bristol. He had a friend going to get some tickets. Now, you know how many Bristol holds?
Yeah.
What do you think the ticket price was for right field foul pole?
$250.
You're close, 200. 200. That's going to be a money-making event for somebody. I don't know who's going to get who that goes to, but I'm guessing the Bristol Speedway will get the
You're
majority.
gonna get a lot of it.
The majority of that. Two tickets down the right field line, and I'm guessing that means they were 200 each, 200 plus down the right field line. And is that right? Do I have the teams right? Scott, the Reds and for some reason it's the Reds and the Braves to me is what stuck in my head. That would be, which being in Bristol, you know, a lot of people's just going to go because that's where the game is. Right. But then that's a pretty good spot for those two fan bases.
Regionally, that's a good because you're kind of getting halfway, I guess. You're probably a little closer to Cincinnati, but not. I don't know though. You know, because that North Georgia comes in there pretty close.
And North Carolina, majority of North Carolina is Braves fans. So, yeah, it's not that far a drive.
Well, like you said, too.
As Scott can definitely tell us. It's not
you know,
that
we
far
get
a
the
drive.
TV. We get the TV feeds of the Reds and the Braves, you know, regionally. So that tells you right there. And I'm sure that area probably does, too.
Scott says $900 plus for 4 tickets, and it is the Reds and the Braves. Reds and the Braves. Would you like to say you went to that? You know, I mean, would you like to be? You know, I guess one's never been played at a speedway before.
Speedway like that.
You know, it'd be neat to go and see him, watch it, but man, you don't know what kind of view you might have. You might be, you know. half a mile away from action.
For all the work to put that in there, it ought to be in multiple series, not just them but others.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah. You think it's a success that the major leaguers are playing up in Pennsylvania at the Little League Park? Has that been a success? And playing at the old Negro Leagues ballpark this past year, I can't remember exactly where it was.
Isn't that
Missouri?
No. Was it Mississippi?
Yeah.
Alabama.
And I can't
wherever
remember
Willie
the name of the
made,
park.
near where Willie is, Alabama.
Yeah, and what time? And it was right along the time that Willie
right the
passed
week he
away.
died. Yeah.
Yep. But I think that is a success. I think that's, you know, it not only shows heritage and lets people know where baseball came from and how it was many years ago that don't know. But yeah, I like it. I think it works good for all parties involved. That's for sure. All right, we up against the timeout. One of you guys got lyrics up and ready?
Okay, I'll go. Let me see what I got here. Mine's a cinch too.
A cinch?
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Now, if you're feeling kind of low about the dues you've been paying.
That's enough. We'll take a break. Yeah. Back in a moment.
Getting the kids to practice on time. Remembering if it's your day to bring snacks. Making it to the game with a clean jersey. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like whether your kid is going to run toward first or third base. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com.
Rhodes and Bill Oil Company in Lincoln has been serving the Piedmont of North and South Carolina since 1919. Sure, they deliver to your home with home heating oils. They'll help keep you warm, but they do a whole lot more. They feature bulk fuel delivery, on-site and commercial fueling, backup generator fueling, and farm and agricultural fueling. For home or business or farms, call on Rhodes and Bill Oil Company in Lincoln, 704-735-2508. Online at rhodesandbill.com, located at 1404 East Main Street in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook too.
For where two or three have gathered together in my name, I am there in their midst. Matthew 18:20. You are invited to gather with us at Rhine Heights United Methodist Church, located at 520 Madison Street, just up from Betty Ross Park. Sunday school meets at 10, and worship follows at 11 every Sunday. Follow us on Facebook for special service announcements. Join us Sunday at Rhine Heights United Methodist Church.
Buying a Bobcat is now easier than ever at West End Sales in Vail. Now get 0% APR financing. That means low monthly payments. Or you can get $1,200 instant rebates on selected models. Now is the time to buy. Like we said, it's easier than ever. Again, get 0% APR financing or get $1,200 instant rebate on selected Bobcat models at West End Sales at the Highway 1827 West intersection in Vail. Online at westendsales.com and like them on Facebook too.
Western Steer Family Steakhouse in Newton has the best food around. Their buffet is like no other. Fried chicken, meatloaf, baked chicken, beef tips with peppers and onions, pintos and macaroni cheese, green beans, yams, and the best salad bar around. Hours of business Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Western Steer Family Steakhouse, 334 Southwest Boulevard, Newton. Call for takeouts at 704-325-3926. Like them on Facebook.
The game is about to start. What the? You finally put the kids to sleep.
Sweet dreams. No, the battery.
Your dinner guests will be here in 5 minutes.
Not now. Oh.
Mr. Sparky electricians are around the corner and ready to help. Call Mr. Sparky today for any electrical need.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Zeus Auto Repair and Performance at 1122 South Aspen Street in Lincoln now have 4 North Carolina licensed state inspectors on site. Need automotive work? They are the best. Oil changes, brakes, car detailing, and suspension work. You'll be in and out before you know it. Stop in and see the guys at Zeus Auto Repair and Performance at 1122 South Aspen Street in Lincoln. Hours of business, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 704 240-3061. Zeus Auto Repair and Performance.
Notary services available on site as well.
All right, Mike Powell. We got all kind of correct
No, of course you
answers
do.
coming in. Read those lyrics one more time.
Oh. I figured you only need one line.
Of course, one of my favorite bands of all time. So.
Yeah, I knew that. Now, if you're feeling kind of low about the dues you've been paying, this is coming much too slow.
Well.
And you want to run, but somehow you just keep on staying.
And I disagree because the future comes way too fast. at least in my eyes. I don't know about yours, but at least in my eyes, it seems like it comes way too fast. Don't you? Great band, says Hooks. Peace of Mind, Boston.
That's it.
Says Hooks. Also getting it correct. Butch, Boston. Peace of Mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Good music right there.
Not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Lanny always points out that they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which does not make sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that one out.
Yeah. What's your favorite Boston song? All of them is about right, you know. You know, Peace of Mind's good.
That's
More
one
Than
of
a
my
Feeling.
favorites. Yeah. More Than a Feeling.
Yeah. Smoking's good. Don't Look Back.
Don't Look Back.
Amanda, Rock and Roll Band.
Amanda, yeah, that's a good one.
A lot, you know. Yes, a lot of their songs sound alike, but tell me a band that don't.
That's right.
That's why they made it. That's how they made it.
Like
so why
Bob
would you
Seger
switch?
and all his sound the same.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's hard to tell which one you're listening to when it's Seger because they are.
They all sound the same.
Yep. With you on that. That's what made them famous. So why would they change? Right? Don't there's a couple groups out there. Who's got the weirdest song that don't sound? What band?
Like themselves, like their normal signature sound.
I always think of and this is not it, but one I always think of is Wherever You Go, I'll Be With You. You know that song, that ballad? And that's Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
And that just don't fit into I Want You to Want Me and songs like it sounds like a totally different band. And there's others out. There's a few others out there that have weird song like that you don't you know. It's hard to guess because it just doesn't sound like their normal stuff. But that'd be interesting. Who's got the weirdest song that does not sound like them as a classic rock band? There's some out there. I
don't know. Maybe some of the stuff the Who did, with Tommy and that whole album Quadrophenia.
I never mistake the Who.
Never mistake the Who.
When the Who's on, I just never mistake them. But I will find myself. I used to more than now. I used to scratch my head saying, "Who is that singing that?" And look it up, and it's Cheap Trick. And I said, "That just don't make sense." I don't know if you guys are familiar with the song I'm talking about or not. That slow ballad. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I've got the right song there. Wherever You Go, I'll Be. I don't even know what the actual title of it is. But
yeah, it's not like the big stadium rock kind of song.
No. I think the best song by Cheap Trick was probably "Mommy's All Right, Daddy's All Right." They just seem a little weird. That's pretty good lyrics. I don't know if they're the weird ones or not. Right? That's what I always thought. Maybe gotta be weird to recognize weird. Maybe is the way it was with Cheap.
Talk about
Cheap
weird.
Trick.
I mean, I always loved the weirdness of Pink Floyd. I mean, I can listen to them all day.
Yeah, I can too. But at least that's one band that you're not gonna mistake.
You don't know who they are.
Yeah. How about the all-time great title, "Brain Damage"? That's pretty good.
Mike goes far out there.
Oh, yeah.
Into the brain. What's your favorite Pink Floyd song? Let's tell that. I like a lot of them.
"Comfortably Numb" comes to mind.
Learning to Fly. A lot of people would say, "Wish You Were Here."
Yep, "Wish You Were Here."
But mine, I don't know why. I like Money. I've always liked Money. Just to hearing the cash register, cha-ching
at the beginning.
Maybe I like Money. And it's not necessarily a song. Who knows? But I've always, for some reason, really like that song. I'm gonna change it up here a little bit. We're gonna go high school next instead of hitting on some of the colleges, because I want to make sure we give enough time for high school football.
Yep.
Last night, and I've gone through the scores, and really don't see any surprises. I read them this morning when I got up with my first 2 cups of coffee. Just as I read through them, I really didn't find. I think at halftime last night, people may not realize this, but they may. But the Crest and Hunter Husk game was tight at half last night. I think it was a 3-point game, wasn't it, Mike? When you and I talked about it, I think like it was like 15-12 or something strange like that. But it was a very close game. Now Crest pulled away later, but Husk seems to be a much improved team, one of the teams that's really improved. I was a little surprised by the South Point and Kramer score, because South Point hadn't just been blowing anybody out, but for some reason they play their best against Kramer every time they hook up. And
of course, Kramer was formed out of the
took some of their kids. Some of theirs in East Gaston too.
East Gaston, South Point, and a little bit of Forest View.
I was going to say Forest View would have to be the next one, to give some up. But here we go, and I'm going to be skipping around, so just bear with me. Monroe beat Porter Ridge 41-24 on Friday night. Concord with a shutout win over East Rowan, 45-0 in that one. Davie County over R.J. Reynolds, 32-17. Western Alamance 24-7 over Orange County. Kinston 39-0 over South Lenoir. Burlington Cummings defeats Seaforth 41-20. Cummings looks like a program that's kind of starting to come back a little bit. A one-time powerhouse in 2A. East Mac falls to Rocky River 21-12. Cleveland High, they're ranked number 8th in the state overall. Cleveland 44-14. That school's only about 15 years old.
That's the Omari and Hampton school.
Yep,
the running back Carolina.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's a new school. You're right.
Yeah, well, new for people our age.
Yes.
I remember when
7, 8, 9, 10 years old, probably something like that.
I'd say at least, but it just seems shorter. No score listed here on Chambers and West Mac. Nash Central and Southern Nash, big rivalry game there, 28-25. Southern Nash gets the win in that one. Northwest Cabarrus 45-0 over South Rowan. Harding and Hopewell, no score listed, as is Butler and Garinger. No offense, Ned, but I've got an idea who won that game. I just don't know.
Hopewell won. I just don't remember the score.
And of course, isn't Butler, the team we talked about, was winless going into last night?
They played so many out-of-state schools.
They had played a gauntlet.
Yeah.
The schedule was just ridiculous. Let's see, Olympic and South Mac, no score listed. I've already seen there may be rain coming up for this Friday, so look out. Watch for schedules to maybe be changed. I hope not, though. Hope they change that I'm hearing maybe another tropical depression moving
Ooh.
up. And I hope it's not another no-named one, because those no-name one dumped about 5 inches of rain in just a few hours. Mallard Creek and West Charlotte, no score listed this morning on Max Preps.
Very close, like 13-12, I believe.
Okay.
I might be making that up.
Well,
I heard that a little bit on Delano and them last night.
Well, since Mallard Creek is the ranked team, I'm guessing they were still the winner in that close game.
And they had some kind of incident where they had to clear the stadium and finish the game with no fans.
Oh boy, always hate that.
They showed they had highlights they were showing the playing going on, and all of a sudden up in the stands you could see the people all running
Mass
in one
exodus.
direction. Yeah. But I think Mallard Creek won 13-12, I think, and I might be making that up, but
sounds good. Corvian Community, that's a team that's gotten pretty good just in a short number of years. Mike Powell, 61-12 over at Winston-Salem Prep. Charlotte Latin defeats St. Paul's 19-14. St. Paul's is way down east, isn't it? That's a good ride for one of the two teams.
Down below
Looks like
Laurinburg.
It was at Latin, so St. Paul's made the long road trip. Rockingham County, a team Mike and I saw last year in the playoffs at East Lincoln, either last year or year before. That's the county that Reidsville resides in, right? Rockingham County.
That is correct.
Southern Guilford falls to Rockingham 9-0. Washington over Pamlico County 41-28. Pine Lake Prep beats Mountain Island Charter 30-28. High Brighton falls to Oak Grove 34-3 in that one. Starmount 49-0 over Allegheny. Southern Alamance over Northmore 29-6. Trying to find more just Western North Carolina. Northeastern, always a solid 2A team. 66-7 last night over First Flight. Now, I know Northeastern is down at the coast too, Elizabeth City. And First Flight, but that's still got to be a long ride, don't it?
I would say.
Elizabeth City to First Flight. First Flight's out on the Outer Banks.
I didn't know where First Flight I didn't know it.
Maybe Kitty Hawk, or I guess that's why it's named that.
It probably is in connection. Yeah. Probably you're right.
But not 100% sure, but I do think it might be out at Kitty Hawk. I don't know how long that ride would be. I know there's only one way to get there, though, unless you fly in.
Maybe that's why they're First Flight.
First Flight. Took their second flight. Let's see. Any more locals? Charlotte Catholic bounces back after the Crest loss. They beat Providence 21-6. I don't know those prep schools right there. I'll just omit those. East Carteret, Battle of Carteret County West beats East 51-13. Cuthbertson 56, South Caldwell 6. I don't ever knock on anybody. I don't try to do that. But we need to come up with the combined record of the Caldwell County schools this year. Do they have a win? High Brighton won a game.
High Brighton's beat somebody early in the year.
I think they did.
I think they did. Who it was now, but
feeling for them up there right now, though. That one last night, Cuthbertson and South Caldwell, 56-6. I believe it or not, I've missed South Caldwell a couple times on our pick'em sheets here in the early season. South Iredale 24-17 over West Cabarrus. Havelock falls to New Bern. This was the statewide game of the night last night, and New Bern a 1-point winner, 28-27 over Havelock. I think those schools are about 10 miles apart, if I'm not mistaken. That's when you go into Morehead City. I know you go through both towns, and I think they're just one after the other. I think it's Havelock and then New Bern on the way to the coast. Wallace Rose Hill 32-14 over Southwest Onslow. James Keenan 43-20 over East Duplin. Irwin over Inca 55-14. Greensboro Dudley. That's still a team that's going to be a thorn in Hickory's side. You know, I'm not saying Hickory won't beat them, but that may be one of their toughest competitors down the road. Dudley gave them a heck of a game last year in the rain at Hickory High. Dudley 62-0 last night over High Point Central. With me building it up like that, they'll probably never meet, right? A.L. Brown, Hickory Ridge, no score to report. Mount Airy continues to roll 55-0 over North Stokes. North Surrey, didn't they lose last week? Dropped a game, or are they still undefeated? Anyway, they won last night over Wilkes Central 47-21. A really good football team, it looks like, there at North Surrey. Piedmont over Montgomery Central, 20-14. AC Reynolds over North Buncombe. AC Reynolds has played one heck of a schedule, and I think they've really got a good team, but that's only their second win. Of course, the other one was over Shelby.
51-21.
Yeah, convincing win over Shelby. But they lost to teams like Watauga.
Was it West Forsyth?
West Forsyth.
Yeah,
That was a very
West
close
Forsyth,
game.
yeah. Maybe
Close
East
scoring.
Forsyth, too. I don't know. But they really have played a tough schedule. It's probably going to pay off for them down the road.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't get them seeded too low. And, yes, I know the better competition you play, the better, but losses count him first as far as seeding go before the strength of the opponent. Speaking of East Forsyth, they played another ranked team last night, number 25 Reagan, and East Forsyth a winner 69-21 in that matchup. That is maybe way off base, but East Forsyth will be my pick to be in the 4A championship game anyway. Somebody that's very familiar with being there. Of course, I don't know why I'm saying that when you got those schools we just been talking about. Rolesville down there is a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Wake Forest a powerhouse. Plenty of 4A teams in the East to go around, I can promise you that. Terry Sanford over Overhills, 34-7. West Forsyth, Mount Tabor, no score. Mooresville, 55-0 over Cox Mill. Myers Park, 59-0 over first-year school Ballantine Ridge. Forbush falls to West Wilkes, 20-12. T.C. Roberson rolls over McDowell, 60-26. Weddington, speaking of rolling, who's ranked ahead of Weddington? Because Weddington is number 2 in North Carolina, 56-0 over Chapel Hill last night on the road.
What is that, 3A or 4A?
They are 4A now.
4A.
Yep. Weddington moved up last realignment along with Catholic to 4A.
What's Grimsley? What are they 4A?
Yes. They might be.
It's not them. I'm just kind of guessing.
Yeah. I don't know if it is or not. Maybe I'll see the number 1 ranking here as we go. Richmond County run into Ken Kinley during the week at an eating establishment. And
which one was
talked
that?
to him a little bit. I'm not giving free advertising.
Okay.
I talked to him a little bit about his Richmond Spiders, where he's from. Seem like they're on the way back. They've had a couple down years, but it looks like they're starting to make progress and come back now. West Henderson 20-13 over North Henderson. Robbinsville falls to Tryon, and Tryon Tryon. I think that is an out-of-state.
Somewhere in Georgia, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah.
From where they're located, I would guess Georgia. North Iredale beats Fred T. Ford 23-16. West Iredale, boy, this was one in our picks. We had 5-5. I never expected it to be, Mike, with 96 points in this game.
I did not expect
St. Stephen's 56-40.
Wow.
56-40. Is that you, Mike?
That's me.
What? Oh, was that Lenny? I thought that was Mike playing us some.
That's not always me.
It's Lenny.
Hey.
Mike, you're going to be disappointed. Lumberton, Cape Fear, no score to report. Not yet, anyway.
Nothing for Max Cade.
Nothing yet. Northern Guilford over Ragsdale, 30-13. Here's you a trivia question for this morning, and we'll do a T-shirt on this one. Trivia question: name me the NFL player, at least one current NFL player, from Northern Guilford High School. And you got to name the one that I'm thinking about. I don't think they have but one.
I got my shirt.
I don't think they have but one, but name the NFL player that's from Northern Guilford High School. I'll give you a quick hint.
Wide receiver, isn't he?
Yep, I'll give you another quick hint. He was dealt in the offseason, went to a new team. No, not you. Be quiet.
Okay.
I don't think you know anyway. But
I got my shirt.
But don't answer.
I may know.
Butch Parker, I know Maiden won big last night. I don't have it right in front of me, but no score reported as far as Max Preps goes between Maiden and East Burke. I do know Maiden won, I want to say 40-something to 6 or something like that.
43-7, I believe.
Is that it?
I've seen on the screen
43-7?
here just a minute ago.
Okay.
But I might be wrong.
Credit card game of the night. Know who it was? Chase Freedom.
Chase Freedom.
Freedom with the how could I call it? Freedom with the higher limit on that card, 63-13 last night. Freedom over Chase. Thomasville loses to Salisbury. Salisbury 32-6. Kings Mountain over Hunter Huss 39-13. I'm telling you, that was a 3-point game at halftime. Randleman and Ashboro 34-27. Randleman a winner. South Point cruises over Kramer 44-7. Bunker Hill, believe it or not, Lincoln led this game 14-6. Bunker Hill scores the rest of the points. They win 32-14 last night over Lincoln. RS Central falls to Hendersonville. Hendersonville 19-14. Mike, I think we saw last night, we thought that RS had won that game, but
yeah,
this morning it might be corrected, and it's got Hendersonville winning 19-14. What we saw may not have been a final.
That's what I seen, 19-14.
North Lincoln rolls over Statesville. I think it was the winner was not a surprise, but the margin might have been a 25-point win over undefeated Statesville last night. Of course, next up for North Lincoln, they get to travel to Hickory.
Yeah, and they did that
week.
without all-time leading tackler Ryan Bassani, right?
They did, yep. And
one
of the other starting
year.
linebackers as well missed that game last night.
And you said, I think somebody said that Bassani could be out 2 games at least.
Let's see. I know I got text rolling in, but I'm paying more attention to the scoreboard right now. I want to finish it before I get back to text, so I might ask you what your text is about if it's been out there a while. Shelby 70-0 over Cherryville last night. Mike, explain to me why it was homecoming. Just because of the way the dates fell.
I don't know whether Cherryville was forced into having Shelby as their homecoming opponent. I don't know what happened. Anyway, it was Shelby last night. But I was there for the parade that afternoon downtown Cherryville. I understand they had a big turnout. Homecoming is big in Cherryville. They have about, everybody's represented. All the girls dress in white gowns for the actual game. But hopefully everybody enjoyed halftime festivities at least. Mike
did not sport his white gown last night.
No, I didn't have mine.
I'm thankful to report as we were at East Lincoln last night. They might not have thought too highly of that. Crest over Ashbrook 29-12 last night. Maybe that's the one that was the 3-point game at the half. That one was real close too for a while. Mm-hmm. But Crest pulled away in the second half. Crest hadn't blown anybody out, but they are 4-0 against 4 real good opponents. Yep. That last night's the first win by more than a touchdown for Crest. But when you got wins over Kings Mountain, a win over Shelby, a win over Charlotte Catholic, and now a win over Ashbrook, who was undefeated going into that game. Pretty good resume.
Absolutely.
Pretty good resume. Burns over Highland Tech, 56-8. Let's see, Watauga, they continue to roll, still undefeated, 47-21. I think they've played 5 games, if I'm not mistaken. They may be 5-0 on the season here, 47-21 over North Davidson. Here's the one we were 5-5 on last night, and so one of the few I got right last night. Brevard over East Rutherford, 24-21.
Yeah, I think I went with Brevard by a touchdown. So.
West Lincoln, Bandies, seems like it's always a tight game. Last night, West Lincoln opportunity to tie with a 2-point conversion. 2-point conversion, no good. Bandies, I think that was with maybe 4 minutes to go. Is that about right, Lenny?
Yeah.
17-15, Bandies hangs on and wins that game. You can always count. Just about always count on when Bandies and West Lincoln play. It's going to be one possession.
It was 17-7 for about 7 minutes to go, and they had a safety, snapped the ball over the punter's head, and they made it 17-9. Then they kicked off to West, and West scored, made it 17-15.
And you had to go for 2.
And they went for. Well, they showed kick, but they faked it.
Okay.
And,
okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd have fell for that because just because of at that point it's time to try for 1 point's not going to help you.
Right.
1 point's just not going to help you either way, unless that team happens to score again and you score again. Sun Valley, Alexander Central. Sun Valley, that's a pretty good ride to come up to Alexander Central. 42-10, Sun Valley gets the win. North Rowan over South Davidson, 55-13. Grimsley over Southeast Guilford. Now, you were asking about Grimsley earlier. They're ranked number 3. Number 3 overall in the state of North Carolina. 49-7 last night over Southeast Guilford. Reidsville's ranked number 20 in the state. I'd like to say there probably are when you consider 4As, but 20 teams better, 19 teams better than Reidsville. That's tough. They beat North Forsyth 37-0 last night, and I'm guessing that the big stud Harrison back on the field last night. Don't know that for sure, but I'm guessing he's back on the field last night for Reidsville. North Gaston, Forest View. I saw earlier Forest View won this game, but
14-7,
close.
I believe.
14-7, not on low-scoring game.
Yeah.
Not on my board. Mike asked me last night if I had anything on Bessemer City and Thomas Jefferson. Didn't know it would wind up this bad. 57-6, Bessemer City in a rout last night. Newton Conover gets their first win, 35-7 over West Caldwell. Hickory over East Lincoln. That's where Mike and I were, 42-21. Hickory really opened it up in the second half. It was an 8-point game at the half.
Yeah, 15-7 at the half. East Lincoln gets the ball to start the second half. I think they get maybe one first down, then forced a punt, or they turned the ball over on downs, and Hickory went on to score on 4 consecutive possessions.
Yes, they
did. That really opened.
And, they really didn't have many big plays on those drives. They just grinded it out. And, they were just.
Well, it was the human battering ram, Isaiah Lackey.
Yes.
He had 23 carries for 162 yards, scored 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, they threw the ball occasionally. In fact, Brady Stober, their quarterback, was 14 out of 16. And he had a couple big pass plays down the field, but mostly just steady, mixing it in. And when you got a guy like Lackey, he sets up the pass when you occasionally do want to throw.
Now, I don't have much numbers on defense, but I want to throw out 3 names real quick to East Lincoln in that defeat last night that stood out to me. One of them was a quarterback, Lawless.
Yeah.
I thought he played well last night. I thought Jackson Beam had a really good night at receiver.
Beam, I want to.
If Jackson Beam was 6 foot tall and 190 pounds, look out.
I'll tell you what, he is a tough-minded little football player. Like you say, if he was 6'1" or 200, he'd be a big-time prospect.
And the other one that stood out to me last night that had a good night on offense was Daly.
Oh, yeah, we got to give him some props. I thought he ran as well last night as I saw
against a tough defense.
Against a tough defense. He had an injury-filled junior year. But last night I thought he kind of regained the form he had as a sophomore when they won the state. 20 carries, 139 yards, had a 23-yard touchdown run. So I thought Chris Daly really ran the football well for the Mustangs.
Drone defeated Owen last night, 28-3. Ashe County falls to Johnson County. I'm guessing that's an out-of-state team as well because I'm not familiar with Johnson County, but it's right there on the Ashe, right there on the border. Probably is an out-of-state. 49-32. Johnson County defeats Ashe County. Any surprises to you guys off of last night's scoreboard?
I think for me, I really thought Statesville, North Lincoln would be a very close game.
It's hard to figure, isn't it?
Then North Lincoln just comes out and dominates.
They did,
and they do it without.
And they did it early, quick.
Yeah,
I mean, they got ahead early.
I don't know what the stats are. I would imagine Shannon Wingate had a big game out of the fullback position, and their running game was very successful. But hadn't seen any stats.
Let's see, Lenny, you got anything?
Just some of the games, the closeness of them, of those perennial powers that you were talking about halftime scores. Like Ashbrook and Crest.
Yeah, and pulling away. Yeah.
I mean, it was a couple touchdowns, but it sounded like it was close. Could have been close late.
So the Big South 3A probably is going to come down to the way it looks early: Kings Mountain and Crest.
Crest looks like, I would say.
Ashbrook is much improved.
That's funny because Kings Mountain, they got thumped pretty good by Shelby in the opener, but they've responded well.
They've responded.
They have responded well. They really have. I want to give a few things real quick. I'm going to read these. Lenny, get your lyrics ready because we're going to do them before we take this final time out. Hooks corrected me. Thank you, Hooks. He said Rockingham County was at North Lincoln.
That's right.
Not East Lincoln.
Nope.
Appreciate that. I'm getting old, Hooks. He said Weddington will play a powerhouse Westside next week. Westside's #1 in the state of South Carolina. That'd be interesting to see how Weddington does against the #1 team in South Carolina. Hooks also says Wingate last night, 150 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
That's just become normal.
Normal for him.
Night.
Yeah.
Rodney Willis is the first one I see to answer our trivia question. Northern Guilford's Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. Yeah, I knew it, but I didn't say it.
Yeah, is the receiver out of Northern Guilford.
As a matter, you know the history of that state championship game. Who was the quarterback for Crest in that state championship game against Northern Guilford?
Johnny Unitas.
Nope. Patrick Bowman, the current
Patrick
coach
Bowman.
Patrick
at
Bowman.
Cherryville High
Okay.
School.
How about that? Okay.
Patrick Bowman.
I knew there had to be some kind of reason you were asking that. It
Yeah.
wasn't just to get that name right.
It sure was.
Yeah, I like that. Let's see. Mike Painter. I think it's Mike Painter. I've got a lot of Mikes on here. High Brighton, South Caldwell, West Caldwell combined 3-10 so far. So they do have 3 wins. So
Well, I
not
looked
as-
that up too. South Caldwell's got 2 wins. One of them's against West Caldwell,
Yeah.
and the other one was RS Central.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Mosteller. Hadn't heard from Dean Mosteller
Mosteller.
in a while.
Yeah.
Rayburn Gap. Let's see. Rayburn Gap is out of Georgia. Max Prep's list is incorrect. Dean, Rayburn Gap. Yeah, they do. That's who they've got #1. And I'm going to tell you a reason I think they might be there, Dean, is because they might play in the North Carolina playoffs. And I don't know why they would allow that or anything, but they play all their games. Are they not against North Carolina schools?
A lot of them are. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that either. But just to give you a rundown, it's got Rayburn Gap out of Georgia, ranked #1. Then Weddington, Grimsley, Mallard Creek, Providence Day, Roseville, Huff, Cleveland, East Forsyth, Independence, Cardinal Gibbons, Hickory at #12, and then Greensboro Dudley right under them, and they could meet down the road. Brett says Rayburn Gap plays in the North Carolina Independent State Association.
Okay.
So they do play, and their state title would come from North Carolina if they're able to. That is weird. It says although out of state.
How are they ranked in the? Is it just across the board 4A, being independent, and the rest of them are public? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just
don't have an answer.
I'm not
for
going
you.
against that because y'all are reading it right off. They're #1, But
I do not.
When I heard that, I thought they
answer
were
for you.
independent.
A couple messages here from Scott Cloninger. Butler High School and Eastern Alamance have new coaches and are struggling to win. Lincoln had 5 turnovers, it says, last night in their loss to Bunker Hill. He says Cherryville played Shelby for homecoming because Shelby doesn't travel well. Homecoming makes more money. So they knew the gate wouldn't be that good unless they had homecoming on that particular night.
Right.
Thank you, Butch Parker, says the 43-6 was maiden score last night. And then he says, give Greenwell hell. And I want to know why I need to give Greenwell hell. Maybe he I don't know. I know there's many reasons if you ask Butch to give Greenwell hell, but we'll have to figure it out what the reason is this particular time. A couple more before we get Lenny's lyrics. Jason says, yes, Hairston did play last night for Reedsville. Figured he did. Figured he wasn't going to sit out long. And Hook says, I remember Keenan Allen playing at North Lincoln. Yes, he did. They played them in a non-conference game back when Keenan Allen was there. That's when Northern Guilford was a new school.
Yep.
There are so many directional schools in Guilford County. I don't see how their own people keep up with who is who, but Northern Guilford, Northwest Guilford, Northeast Guilford.
Southwest.
Yeah, they're just all over the place with those directional schools. And
well, now Northeast Guilford rose quickly to be a power there for a while, didn't they? Or am I thinking another?
It's Northern. I think it was Northern.
Just Northern Guilford.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was Northern. I think Northern won a state title.
Yeah, that's what
Somebody
I
can
thought.
tell me if I'm wrong, but I think Northern won a state
But
title.
it's confusing.
It is very, very confusing. All right, let's get to Lenny's lyrics. We'll come back and talk a little bit about the college matchups today. What you got, Lenny?
Here they are. Hey, well, I'm the friendly stranger in the black sedan. Oh, won't you hop inside my car?
Back in a moment.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Sooner or later, everyone wants to make their home dreams a reality. I'm sure you've seen the television shows and flip through magazines and you know what you want. Or then again, maybe you're not sure. You know that you want something different and something better. Get started today by contacting the building professionals at Key Builders in Lincoln. Visit the website at keybuildersnc.com and check out their mini floor plans. There's one there for you and your family. Key Builders, locally owned and operated at 1459 North Aspen Street in Lincoln. See their page at whatsupshopper.com and like them on Facebook too.
Lake Electric Company was founded in 1984. They are licensed in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. Safety and quality is first in everything they do. For all your electrical needs, serving Lincoln County, Catawba County, Burke County, Mecklenburg County, and all the surrounding counties. When it has to be done right, call Lake Electric. Let them take care of your family. Lake Electric Company, 4362 Providence Mill Road, Maiden. Call 704-483-4000. Online at lakeelectric.com.
Stop by Lowe's Home Improvement in Lincolnton for their great deals on items you use around the house. Need to update around the kitchen? Then shop a great selection of appliances and some up to 30% off retail prices. Buy Craftsman's 20-volt max battery and get your choice of matching Craftsman cordless tool free. Update your workshop area with a wide selection of shop tools, only $99 each. But hurry, these deals won't last long. Shop Lowe's in Lincolnton for the things you want to buy today.
Century Drug in Boger City is the first pharmacy in the area to offer peace of mind for you, your caregivers, and for your family with a convenient poly pouch, strip pouch system, just like the one you've seen on TV. No more sorting through and keeping up with your multiple bottles of medication. No more filling daily reminder boxes. No more calling in meds and worrying about refills. You'll receive all your medications once a month in a box that dispenses a convenient, easy-to-open strip pouch that is perfectly labeled for breakfast, lunch, bedtime, etc. Century will be the link between you and your doctor to assure you that your medication profile is up to date and refillable. In other words, Century Drug will do all the work. You just take your medications and be healthy and happy. Call or come by for a visit today. 704-735-2551. Century Drug, East Main Street in Lincolnton.
November 15th, half the week is gone and half the month is gone, as we do each and every.
Yeah, definitely a one-hit wonder. I've heard it, but
little technical difficulty there. Trying to hopefully you can hear us. Give me a thumbs up or somebody say something if we're back. Couldn't get the music to play there for our final intro. Lenny's got great lyrics here. Did you get it, Mike? Did you ever get the correct answer?
It's right, man. I can
go ahead and give them again, Lenny, and give a little extra here. I don't think I do have one answer.
Hey, hey, well, I'm the friendly stranger in the black sedan. Oh, won't you hop inside my car? Even give me the lyrics a little bit with it.
Yeah, you're giving.
I got pictures. I got candy. I am a lovable man.
And I guess the group was pedophile, but I'm wrong.
It could be.
It could be good
with those lyrics. But we do have actually two. I should say two. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Hooks, for letting me know. Good on the sound. But Butch Parker has the group and the song listed correctly, as does.
All right. Good job.
Well, Hooks gets the song, the name of the song, but he said the group escapes me. That's a good one, a one-hit wonder there.
Yeah.
And now I get an exactly what I thought. I don't know from. That's not good. My wife thinking the same thing as me. The group should be called pedophile.
Yeah.
We watch too many crime shows. That's what that boils down to. But I'm gonna hand it to a 50% job for Hooks, but Butch Parker right now the only one with. You want me to tell you, Mike Powell?
Yeah.
I'm your vehicle, baby.
Oh, I'm your vehicle.
Vehicle.
Yeah.
You know who sings Vehicle?
No. But I've heard the song.
I'll tell you this. It is the name of the group has to do with a date. The name of the group has to do with a date. And you mention it every single year it rolls
Julius
around.
Caesar.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have told him that because he mentions it every single year when we get to that point. You shouldn't have said that. That's too good of a hint for him. I'm surprised he hadn't blurted it out right quick.
Year.
Every single year you'll sit here and say, beware of. Come on, Mike Powell.
I know. What's wrong with
beware of what?
Oh, the Ides of March.
There you go. That's the name of the group.
It's the group.
Wow.
I would have never got it.
I
mean, I remember it. I remember
the
hearing
song.
it. I remember the group name, but I wouldn't have got it.
Ides of March.
I might have come up with vehicle at some point, but never would have got it.
That's a nugget. That's
not by pedophile.
Not by pedophile.
Which is
at least at that time they were not. They might have changed their name.
Always good to know, right? Hey,
Ides of March.
I'm a little early here. Don't want to. We really appreciate the participation this morning. It's been a fun morning. It's gone by very quick. We thank Lenny for being here because we only got about 8 minutes left here this morning on the show, and I'm gonna throw some out there just real quick. Marshall going to the Horseshoe today to take on Ohio State, 12 noon on Fox. Clemson at home to take on NC State. ESPN/ABC. I don't know which one exactly it's on. It's on that group of networks, however. Clemson at home. That one also kicks off at noon. Somebody's got to win here. Florida at Mississippi State. They play at high noon. I got to take Mississippi State. Number one, they're at home. And number two, I don't know as much about them. I'll be honest. I don't know as much about what they've done.
They got a new coach, Jeff Levy. I don't know.
Who was it beat them last week?
Yeah, they got beat pretty bad.
Who was it? Pretty bad. I can't remember who it was.
Well, by the way, before you move on.
Well, somebody's going to step up then.
Did you get all the scores from last night? Illinois 31-24 over Nebraska in overtime.
We did talk about that one. I don't know if we gave the score, but I just remembered it was an overtime game.
24 is the last I heard.
I was pulling for Matt Rule in Nebraska.
They're 400 straight sellout at Nebraska.
400.
Just 400?
Yep.
They need to get some people in there.
Yeah.
Was it at Nebraska?
It was at
Nebraska. No, it wasn't.
No,
it wasn't. You're wrong, Mike. That game was at Illinois last night.
I thought I heard you say it was Illinois earlier.
Yep. I'm pretty sure it was at Illinois because when his post-game interview, he said something about look it up and see.
Well, it says here, Illinois at Nebraska.
Okay. I could have swore it was at Illinois. I
didn't know.
I even thought the painting inside the stadium was navy blue and orange, but I don't know. Maybe
they got a really hotshot freshman quarterback in Nebraska, Dylan Raioli, had 297 yards passing last night.
Yeah, isn't he the guy that flipped? He was going somewhere else and decided to go to Nebraska.
Didn't I hear his dad played at Nebraska? Did I hear that?
I think so. Oh, here's another one. Washington State double overtime defeated San Diego State 54-52. That must have been.
I tell you what, my heart pulls for Washington State and Oregon State.
Me too.
You know, because they were kind of left out. So I kind of pull for those two teams to.
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
And look,
Washington State that beat Washington.
They pounded Washington.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a little payback thing.
Hooks, I don't know if I should say that on the air. I might just leave that one. Sounds like a blank group, and he's got somebody's name in there called pedophile. I won't do the guy like that on the radio. You people that listen a lot, you know who he's talking about as a joke, I'm sure, but that's funny. Let's see. Some people might take that serious, though, so I'm not going to say it. Charlotte at Indiana. Villanova at Maryland, James Madison at North Carolina. I heard North Carolina starting their third quarterback in 3 weeks. Yep. Is that right? Starting the third quarterback. Who's this?
Jacoby Criswell.
Where's he from? You have any idea?
Long story. He was there. He left. Came back.
Oh well.
Okay.
That's not unusual
he was
anymore.
he was the starting quarterback. Going to be the starting quarterback, and he got beat out in his first year by a guy by the name of Drake May.
Oh yeah, Drake May. Seems I've heard of him.
And so he stayed a year and transferred to Arkansas, and he came back this year.
I got something here. Jason says, truly disappointed in Wake Forest. They canceled their series versus Appalachian due to App not being enough of a quality opponent. Wow. Wake Forest calling somebody not a quality opponent. That is news.
Carolina don't want none of them.
Yeah. Then after losing to I like to go back and see what the history is between App. I know App's not as good this year as they have been, but to call them not a quality opponent. Then after losing to Ole Miss Saturday, they bought out the game to Ole Miss next season due to being too tough of an opponent. So they are trying to find that fine line, a team that we might can beat, but we may also lose. But no, I'm not going to throw that out there. That wouldn't be good. Going through some more of the schedule today: Kansas at West Virginia, Houston at Cincinnati. Sounds like a baseball matchup, don't it? Tulane at Louisiana. Kentucky. Boy, what a scare they put in Georgia last week after getting thumped the week before. Who thumped them the week before? And then all of a sudden they put a scare in Georgia.
Was it South Carolina?
Am I
making that up?
No,
was it South Carolina?
It was the game.
Kentucky a thump?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. And then South Carolina fell to LSU in a very good football game. I watched a lot of that game last week. It was. Virginia at Coastal Carolina. Let's see if we got it. Number 11, Southern Cal against number 18, Michigan. What's big about it?
Well, I mean, you got two powerhouses, at least traditional programs. They're meeting in the big house.
I will say,
first Big Ten game for Southern Cal.
Here's the biggest thing about it. One's on their way up, the other's on their way down.
That's true.
That's the way it looks right now. Yeah. Southern Cal's on the rise a little bit. Michigan, it's hard to come off that national championship and lose as many players as they did.
They put everything into that season.
They did. And they'll be back. Yeah. I feel sure they'll be back.
Yeah,
but I would go with Southern Cal on the road right now.
That's what I'm leaning
to win this one. Battle of the Initials, UCLA versus LSU. That's a weird matchup.
And did somebody pound UCLA last week?
Oh, yeah.
I got a feeling LSU will give them another one.
I forget who it was, but it was.
But I'll tell you one thing about LSU. Brian
Kelly
is so hard to figure out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So hard to figure out. But he had been preaching we have to find ways to win games at the end. And he did it last week.
That was a huge win.
It was. He did it last week, and one they had to have to keep their playoff hopes alive. Let's see, Miami of Ohio at Notre Dame.
Hey, Notre Dame, be on guard. We know what happened with.
Well, they've got their wake-up call. I think if Notre Dame wins out, they probably make the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they don't win out, probably not.
They still got Southern Cal down the road, but that's toward the end.
Yeah. Jason says first time Michigan USC playing each other in the regular season since
1960.
Close, 1958.
58.
Very close.
That's probably what in the road.
I think they've played 8 times
in Rose Bowl.
If I'm not mistaken. I think they've played 8 times, and Jason can correct me, but I think 8 meetings in the in the Rose Bowl between those two.
Bowl, yeah.
Arkansas at Auburn, both teams right here in the early going, kind of hard to figure out. Georgia Tech at Louisville. Looking for ranked numbers here. Utah, number 12 at Oklahoma State. Hey, I'm telling you, that day don't look like it. That's a big game.
Yes.
That's a big game because we got 12 teams in the playoffs now. That I look for one of them to possibly be there.
I really think this could be. I mean, both these teams are top contenders in the Big 12.
Right, I agree.
That should really be a good game. I want to try to watch some of
Utah,
that. 4 o'clock on Fox.
I mean, Utah's what, right? They're probably in the top 10
12,
now, aren't they? They're
12,
right around 10 earlier.
12.
Mike's Missouri Tigers at home today at 4:15 to take on Vandy.
Drinking the water.
Number 7 Missouri Tigers has a nice ring to it. How many Tigers are in the SEC? Quick.
Auburn.
There's
Missouri.
3. There's 3. Auburn. We just named one.
Auburn, Missouri.
Auburn, Missouri, and LSU.
LSU. The Bayou Bengals.
It is.
Right.
They ought to call it the Tiger Conference. They ought to call it the Tiger Conference. Wouldn't that help? Duke at Middle Tennessee State. Go ahead, Mike. What was you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to comment on the game that's coming up. But
You can't.
You'll get to it.
You can't. No, I won't. Time is running out. We got less than 30 seconds to go. Miami. Keep an eye on Miami. Miami may be the most improved team in the nation.
I was looking at California.
Got the
Florida
right coach
State.
in place, it looks
California, Florida State. What do you think?
like. Florida State wins. Law of averages.
I'm going to pick Florida State. I'm not going to chunk them.
Thanks, Lenny, for being here. Mike Powell, David Keever, thanks to our listeners. Appreciate the comments this morning. Appreciate participation. You always enjoy it. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week on Sports Talk.
NIL has muddied the water on everything. Yes, it has. So, I can tell you this: there are athletes out there that are actually just amateurs that get paid for sponsors. Don't figure out today if they want to learn the lure the best athletes that want to play flag football, and as competitive as our country is, and the Olympics are going to be in 2028 in Los Angeles.
Century Drug in Boger City is the first pharmacy in the area to offer peace of mind for you, your caregivers, and for your family with a convenient poly pouch, strip pouch system, just like the one you've seen on TV. No more sorting through and keeping up with your multiple bottles of medication. No more filling daily reminder boxes. No more calling in meds and worrying about refills. You'll receive all your medications once a month in a box.